let's see this question. So let's see this equation. The numerator on the left-hand side are the same, square root of 250. The denominator is off by 1, right? Let's take a look. So x minus 1 compare with 1 minus x. If we put a negative sign in front of x minus 1, so we see that's 1 minus x, right? X becomes negative, and negative 1 become positive. So or the other way around, right? If we have x minus 1, or 1 minus x, we can put negative sign in front of this, 1 minus x. Then we see negative parentheses 1 minus x will be x minus 1. Because the negative 1, negative x become positive x. So which means we can rewrite this equation. We can rewrite the second term. Well, of course, we can rewrite the second term as well. Then the denominator becomes negative, right? Plus square root of 250. Denominator becomes a negative x minus 1. So taking this one. No. We're taking the first one. We're using the first one. We're using this first one. Right. So basically we change the denominator of 1 minus x to be negative x minus 1. Remember the negative sign in the denominator, we can simplify with this plus sign, right? This is a negative sign we can put up front. And then plus minus becomes just minus. Of course, this equals to 3. Now we see this term subtract itself, right? Subtract, oh, maybe I should have read one. Right. Okay, sorry, I made this mess. Right, so this term subtract itself because now the second term becomes a negative square root of 200 divided by x minus 1. Or something subtract itself becomes 0. So this is saying no solution, right? No x, no value for x should ever for this equation to be true. So this is one case, one way to look at it. Now let's look at the second case. Second case is sometimes we see rational expressions where when the variable appears in the denominator, we call it rational expression. In this case, we have a rational equation. When we have a rational equation, what do we want to do? We want to get rid of the denominators. So how do we get rid of the denominator? We want to multiply by the common denominator. In this case, we can multiply x minus 1 on both sides of the equation. So of course, the right-hand side becomes 3 times x minus 1. And the left-hand side, because we multiply by x minus 1, now those two terms cancel. So we have square root of 250 for the first term on the left-hand side. Right, because x minus 1 in the numerator, x minus 1 in the denominator, something divides itself, becomes 1. And 1 times square root of 250, that's square root of 250. Then we know this one is negative. This is a negative x minus 1. So x minus 1 cancels this x minus 1, but we get a minus square root of 250. And of course, square root of 250, subtract itself, we get 0. Then distribute 3, the 3x minus 3. So add 3 on both sides, so get 3x equals 3. So then x equals to 1. So now what's the problem? The problem is, so this is second case. And let's write down second case. So the second case, if you solve from another way, we get x equals 1. So 1, so the first way, we say, okay, there's no solution because we end up with the equation 0 equals 3. or 0 never will be 3. So this says no solution. No value works for x, so the equation to be true. But the second one saying we use another method to solve, saying x equals 1. So which one is right? Well, let's look at the denominator. So in mathematics, we never do something divided by 0. Like a two apples shared by nobody. We just don't want to deal with that case. So we never do something divided by 0. So this is basically illegal, prohibited in mathematics. So if x equals 1, so 1 minus 1 will be 0. So we will have square root of 250 divided by 0. No. So that's why this way is no good. The way of solving is okay, but oftentimes when we solve rational equation, we do that. We want to get rid of the denominator. Right? But then after we get a solution, we have to check the solution. We have to go back, right? In this case, you see, when we go back to check to plug in x to be 1, we get 0 in the denominator. That says no, it cannot be solution. So this is not a solution. X equals 1 is not a solution. So no solution. So take the first way. There's no solution for this equation.